Elara lived within the cold, echoing walls of the Willowbrook orphanage while other children chased balls or huddled over picture books. Elara felt most comfortable in the quiet corners. Observing the world painted in shades of gray, she was a girl of silence, her laughter a rare chime. Her words often caught like shy birds in her throat. Loneliness wasn't just a feeling. It was a tangible presence, a cloak she wore every day. The vibrant chaos of the other children felt overwhelming, a language she couldn't quite decipher. Her solace came when the long afternoon sun slanted through the tall, dusty windows, stretching dark shapes across the worn wooden floors. These shifting patterns felt like silent companions, a world apart from the noisy brightness that left her feeling exposed and adrift. One twilight, as Elara lingered in the nearly deserted common room, a most peculiar thing happened. She traced the elongated silhouette of a chair with her finger, humming a soft, wordless tune to her astonishment. The dark shape rippled. It wasn't a trick of the fading light. The shadow deepened, then gracefully peeled itself away from the floorboards. Rising like dark smoke, it hovered before her, an inky silhouette mirroring her own slight frame. Elara's breath hitched, not in fear, but in profound wonder. Tentatively, she raised her hand. The shadow figure mirrored the gesture perfectly. A spark of pure, unexpected connection ignited within her lonely heart, warm against the encroaching evening chill. Thus began Elara's secret life. Each dusk, as the orphanage settled into hushed murmurs and the sun dipped below the horizon, the shadows would stir. They didn't speak, not with words, but communicated through movement, a silent language of flowing forms and intricate gestures. Elara found her voice not in sound, but in dance. She would move, a slow twirl, a gentle sway, an outstretched arm, and the shadows would respond, swirling around her like dark silk, forming patterns more beautiful than frost on a windowpane. They wove tapestries of darkness, creating fleeting images of soaring birds, blooming night flowers, and distant, starlit mountains. In their silent company, Elara felt truly understood. Her loneliness, replaced by a deep, resonant belonging. Whispers, however, began to slither through the orphanage like cold drafts. Children spoke of seeing dark shapes moving unnaturally in the corners of their eyes. The stern matron, Mrs. Gable, declared the building drafty and full of tricks of the light, urging everyone to stay near the bright lamps after dark. Fear, sharp and contagious. Spread windows were tightly shuttered, curtains drawn long before sunset, banishing the natural shadows Elara cherished. She watched, heart aching, as her friends grew weaker, their edges blurring, their movements sluggish and dim. The vibrant dances became mere tremors in the oppressive, lamplit gloom. Their silent pleas echoed in the stillness, a desperate yearning for the fading twilight they needed to exist. Seeing her shadowy companions fading, a fierce determination bloomed within Elara. She couldn't let fear extinguish their unique, quiet beauty. She knew she had to show the others, to make them understand that the shadows weren't something to dread. It meant stepping out of her own comforting darkness, into the very center of the bright, fearful world she usually avoided. With trembling hands, she approached Mrs. Gable. Her voice, usually so small, was surprisingly steady. "Please," she whispered, then clearer, "let me show everyone tonight in the courtyard under the moon." The matron, startled by the unusual request and the quiet intensity in the girl's eyes, hesitated, then finally, bewildered, nodded her consent. That night, the orphanage children and staff gathered nervously in the moonlit courtyard. Lanterns held high. Elara stood alone in the center, a small figure against the vast darkness. Taking a deep breath, she closed her eyes and began to move. It started slowly, a simple reaching of her arms towards the silver disk above, and the shadows responded. Not just one, but dozens. A euro stretching from the walls, flowing from beneath bushes, coalescing from the very air. They swirled around her, no longer faint tremors, but strong, expressive dancers. They became a flock of silent owls in flight, a grove of trees swaying in an unseen wind, a shimmering river of darkness reflecting the stars. Elara danced with them, not leading, not following, but moving with them in perfect breathtaking harmony. The fear on the onlookers' faces melted away, replaced by gasps of awe and wide-eyed wonder. The moonlight itself seemed to embrace the dark ballet when the final, graceful movement stilled and the shadows gently melted back into their ordinary places. The courtyard was utterly silent then. Hesitant applause began, growing into a warm, genuine wave of sound. Elara stood, breathless, seeing not fear, but amazement and a newfound appreciation in the eyes looking back at her. The shadows didn't dance independently again. The profound, concentrated effort of that shared performance under the full moon had changed them, yet something fundamental had shifted. The children no longer slammed shutters closed. They began to notice the quiet beauty of dusk, the graceful patterns cast by candlelight, the soft shapes on a wall. Elara, though her extraordinary friends had returned to stillness, was no longer the girl who hid. She carried the memory of their dance within her, a quiet confidence warming her spirit. She had taught them all that even darkness holds grace. And sometimes, the most profound connections are found not in the glaring light, but in the gentle embrace of the shadows. We learn to understand. She slept peacefully, forever the girl who had danced with shadows and found her own light.